Hello, it's Lynn Watts here with Wyatt the Wonder Dog Books and more. And today I'm going to talk about emotional regulation. So, this is kind of a new term that has come about in the recent years. It's something that I think anybody who works with young children is probably concerned about. And so, the more knowledgeable you are about what is emotional regulation, and then what do you need to do to help children with that, then the better. So elementary school counselors, parents, anybody who works with young children, of course, is going to be involved in understanding and helping kids negotiate their emotions. So what is emotional regulation? Well, it simply means being able to recognize, that's the first step. Recognize your emotions. Oftentimes that involves labeling them and understanding body language and how you feel in a body sense when you feel that emotion. And then the second part is understanding how to appropriately express those emotions, whether that is talking to someone about them, sharing those feelings with someone, recognizing them within yourself, and knowing what to do about them. So, why is this an issue with small children? Well, the reason is that we are certainly not born knowing what to do with our emotions. And for young children, emotions can be overwhelming, especially feelings of fear, being afraid, feelings of anger can be overwhelming. And honestly, even some of the positive emotions, being very happy, it's a good thing. But at the same time, how are you going to express that in a way that you enjoy it and other people enjoy being around you and are sensitive to it as well? So it really applies to all emotions. The two biggest problems, I would say, are uh, the extremes in either direction. So one extreme would be overly expressing emotions. In other words, being angry and throwing a temper tantrum, kicking, biting, hitting other people, tearing up things. This is the extreme of one emotion. All right. The other extreme, though, which some children learn as well, is repressing emotions. So this would be someone who is really angry, but they don't express it in any way, and it becomes turned inward to the point where either perhaps they're very depressed, because depression can be anger turned inward, or perhaps they don't even know that they're angry, but it, of course, influences uh, everything they do, their behavior. So either extreme can be a problem. What we want to do, of course, is help children learn how to express, or we might say regulate those emotions in a positive way that is beneficial for them, helps them understand that how they're feeling, and it's beneficial for others around them so that it helps in their relationship. So, why do we want to teach emotional regulation? Well, I think some of it is obvious, but there are four things that we can say about emotional regulation that are benefits. Number one, it definitely benefits relationships. And I think that's pretty obvious. If you are friends with someone who is unable to regulate their emotions, and they might fly off into a temper tantrum or some sort of outburst at any moment, that makes it hard to develop that relationship. So it certainly helps with developing positive relationships in every area. All right. Another thing that it does, if you are able to regulate your emotions, is that students perform better in school. And let's face it, school can be somewhat of a frustrating experience. Um, a child who's learning to read, it can be challenging. A child who's learning to interact with other, a large classroom of other students. There's many, many things about school that can be rather frustrating, disappointing, and so on. So, A child that's able to develop some patience, to understand feelings, to accept those feelings and express them appropriately is definitely going to do better in school. It also builds resilience. So we know that all of us face challenges, difficult situations, sometimes extreme hardship. And emotions can definitely get in the way of coping with those kind of problems and even problem solving. So it does definitely contribute to a child being resilient if they can regulate and express emotions appropriately. And finally, and I think this is obvious from everything I've said, um, students who are able to regulate their emotions have fewer behavioral issues. So if they're not acting out in extreme ways, some of the feelings that they have, then it's going to create fewer behavioral problems in terms of, getting along with other students, getting along with teachers, and just basically doing well within the academic environment. And of course, this isn't just about school. It's also going to benefit them in every aspect of their life and their families and their communities and so on. So, emotional regulation is an important concept, important thing to teach children. And it's also, of course, important to recognize that children aren't born knowing how to regulate emotions. And for many, many students and young children, we need to specifically help them and specifically teach strategies and tactics for regulating those emotions. Of course, some people just naturally pick it up. They see others around them, or they have parents or other people that they notice, oh, this is how they handle being angry or frightened or upset, frustrated, and they take that on. But for others, they need really some very specific instruction in how to do that. So I will go into some ways that we can help students with regulating emotions in another video. Again, as always, thanks so much for listening.